The Eurasian Economic Union is an economic union of states located primarily in northern Eurasia. A treaty aiming for the establishment of the EEU was signed on 29 May 2014 by the leaders of Belarus, Kazakhstan and Russia, and came into force on 1 January 2015. Treaties aiming for Armenia's and Kyrgyzstan's accession to the Eurasian Economic Union were signed on 9 October 2014 and 23 December, respectively. Armenia's accession treaty came into force on 2 January 2015. Kyrgyzstan's accession treaty came into effect on 6 August 2015. It participated in the EEU from the day of its establishment as an acceding state. In 1994, the president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, first suggested the idea of creating a Eurasian Union during a speech at Moscow State University. Numerous treaties were subsequently signed to establish the trading bloc gradually. Many politicians, philosophers and political scientists have since called for further integration towards a political, military and cultural union. However, modern-day Kazakhstan has insisted the union stay purely economic as it seeks to keep its independence and sovereignty intact. In spite of that, two EEU member states, Belarus and Russia, form a political union. The Union State, and all the EEU member states participate in the Collective Security Treaty Organization, an intergovernmental mutual defense alliance. The Eurasian Economic Union has an integrated single market of 183 million people and a gross domestic product of over $4 trillion US dollars. The EU introduces the free movement of goods, capital, services and people and provides for common transport, agriculture and energy policies, with provisions for a single currency and greater integration in the future. The Union operates through supranational and intergovernmental institutions. The Supreme Eurasian Economic Council is the supreme body of the Union, consisting of the heads of the member states. The other supranational institutions of the Eurasian Commission, the Eurasian Intergovernmental Council and the Court of the EEU. History. Proposal. After the end of the Cold War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Russia and the Central Asian republics were weakened economically and faced declines in GDP. Post-Soviet states underwent economic reforms and privatization. The process of Eurasian integration began immediately after the breakup of the Soviet Union to salvage economic ties with post-Soviet states, through the creation of the Commonwealth of Independent States on 8 December 1991 by the presidents of Belarus, Kazakhstan and Russia. In 1994, during a speech at Moscow State University, the president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, suggested the idea of creating a common defense, space and regional trading bloc in order to connect to and profit from the growing economies of Europe and East Asia. The idea was quickly seen as a way to bolster trade, boost investments in the region, and serve as a counterweight to Western integration unions. Founding treaties. During the 1990s, the Eurasian integration process was slow, possibly due to the economic crisis experienced after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the size of the countries involved. As a result, numerous treaties have been signed by member states to establish the regional trading bloc gradually. In 1995, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, and later acceding states Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan signed the first agreements on the establishment of a customs union. Its purpose was to gradually lead the way toward the creation of open borders without passport controls between member states. In 1996, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia and Kyrgyzstan signed the Treaty on Increased Integration in the Economic and Humanitarian Fields to begin Eurasian economic integration between countries to allow for the creation of common markets for goods, services, capital, labor, and developing single transport, energy and information systems. In 1999, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan signed the Treaty on the Customs Union and the Single Economic Space by clarifying the goals and policies the states would undertake in order to form the Eurasian Customs Union and the Single Economic Space, Eurasian Economic Community to promote further economic integration and more cooperation. In 2000, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan established the Eurasian Economic Community, which Uzbekistan joined in 2006. The treaty established a common market for its member states. The Eurasian Economic Community was modeled on the European Economic Community. The two had a comparable population size of 171 million and 169 million, respectively. A treaty on a single economic space by Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia and Ukraine was signed in 2003 and ratified in 2004, but the process was stalled after the Orange Revolution. In 2007, Belarus, Kazakhstan and Russia signed an agreement to create a customs union between the three countries, establishing the customs union and single market. The customs union of Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Russia came into existence on 1 January 2010. The customs union's priorities were the elimination of intra-bloc tariffs, establishing a common external tariff policy and the elimination of non-tariff barriers. It was launched as a first step towards forming a broader single market inspired by the European Union, with the objective of forming an alliance between former Soviet states. The member states planned to continue with economic integration and were set to remove all customs borders between each other after July 2011. On 1 January 2012, the three states established the Eurasian Economic Space, which ensures the effective functioning of a single market for goods, services, capital and labor, and to establish coherent industrial, transport, energy and agricultural policies. The agreement included a roadmap for future integration and established the Eurasian Economic Commission. The Eurasian Economic Commission serves as the regulatory agency for the Eurasian Customs Union, the Single Economic Space and the Eurasian Economic Union. Treaty on the Eurasian Economic Union. In 2011, the then Prime Minister of Russia, Vladimir Putin, announced his support for Nursultan Nazarbayev's idea for the creation of a Eurasian Economic Union. On 18 November 2011, the presidents of Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Russia signed an agreement setting a target of establishing the Eurasian Economic Union by 2015. The member states put together a joint commission on fostering closer economic ties. On 29 May 2014, the presidents of Kazakhstan, Belarus and Russia signed the Treaty on the Eurasian Economic Union, which came into effect on 1 January 2015. The presidents of Armenia and Kyrgyzstan were also present at the signing ceremony. Russian President Vladimir Putin stated, "Today we have created a powerful, attractive center of economic development, a big regional market that unites more than 170 million people." Kazakh politicians emphasized the Eurasian Economic Union was not intended to be a political bloc, but a purely economic union. Baikal Sagintayev, the first deputy prime minister of Kazakhstan and lead negotiator, said, "We are not creating a political organization, we are forming a purely economic union." Quote, He further stated, "It is a pragmatic means to get benefits. We don't meddle into what Russia is doing politically, and they cannot tell us what foreign policy to pursue." By October, the treaty had received parliamentary approval from all three states. On the 9th of October 2014, a treaty to enlarge the EEU to Armenia was signed. Kyrgyzstan signed a treaty on the 23rd of December 2014 and became a member of the Eurasian Union on the 6th of August 2015. Structural evolution. Geography. The Eurasian Economic Union is located at the eastern end of Europe, bounded by the Arctic in the north, the Pacific Ocean to the east and East Asia, the Middle East and part of Central Asia to the south. It lies between latitudes 39 degrees and 82 degrees north and longitudes 19 degrees east and 169 degrees west. The Union extends across much of northern Eurasia. Its member states cover an area of over 20 million square kilometers, which is approximately 15% of the world's land surface. The Eastern European plain encompasses Belarus and most of European Russia. The plain is mostly mountain-free and comprises several plateaus. Russia's northernmost regions are tundra. The Russian tundra is located on the coastline with the Arctic and is known for its total darkness in the winter. Taiga reaches Russia's southern borders in Siberia and accounts for 60% of the country. Towards the Ural Mountains and in northern Kazakhstan, the climate is mostly temperate. Southwest Russia and Kazakhstan are mostly steppe. The Kazakh steppe covers one-third of Kazakhstan and is the world's largest dry steppe region. Armenia is mostly mountainous and its climate is continental. The landlocked country shares no direct border with other member states. It is located in the southwestern part of Asia, occupying the northeastern part of the Armenian Plateau, and is located between the Caucasus and the Near East. A large amount of lakes and rivers are found in the Eurasian Economic Union. Major lakes include Ladoga and Onega, two of the largest lakes in Europe. The largest and most prominent of the Union's bodies of fresh water is Lake Baikal, the world's deepest, purest, oldest and most capacious freshwater lake. The Baikal Lake alone contains over one-fifth of the world's fresh surface water. Russia is second only to Brazil in volume of the total renewable water resources. Of the Union's numerous rivers, the Volga is the most famous, not only because it is the longest in Europe, but also because of its major role in history. In Siberia, the Ob, Yenisei, Lena and Ama are among the longest rivers in the world. The Eurasian Economic Union's highest peak is the Khan-Tengri in the Tian Shan Mountains, Kazakhstan, 7,010 meters above sea level. The lowest point in the Eurasian Economic Union is the Karachaya Depression in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan's Caspian shore includes some of the lowest elevations on Earth. According to a 2005 estimate by the United Nations, forests cover 40% of Belarus. 11,000 lakes and many water streams are found in the country. Russia is known for its extensive mineral and energy resources, the largest reserves in the world, making it the world's largest producer of oil and natural gas. According to estimates, the Eurasian Economic Union's population of 176 million people is mostly urbanized, with Russia and Belarus having over 70% of the population living in urban areas. In Armenia, over 64% of the population lives in urban areas. Kazakhstan's urban population comprises 54% of the country's total population. Membership. The treaty establishing the Eurasian Economic Union was formally signed by 3 states which were part of the former Soviet Union: Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Russia. Agreements to enlarge the EEU to the other post-Soviet states of Armenia and Kyrgyzstan were signed on 9 October and 23 December 2014, respectively. Armenia announced its decision to join the Eurasian Customs Union in September 2013. President Sergei Sargsyan announced the decision after talks with his Russian counterpart President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The treaty enlarging the EEU to Armenia was signed on 9 October 2014. Armenia is the only country of the EEU that has no common border with the other member states of the Union. Georgia guaranteed a free transit corridor for exporting its goods to the Eurasian Economic Union. Armenian Deputy Economy Minister Emil Tarasyan said, "Enlargement." Russian President Vladimir Putin has stated that his goal was to enlarge the customs union to all post-Soviet states, excluding the 3 Baltic EU member states. According to The Guardian newspaper, Putin's plan is for the Eurasian Union to grow into a powerful, supranational union of sovereign states like the European Union, uniting economies, legal systems, customs services, and military capabilities to form a bridge between Europe and Asia and rival the EU, the US, China, and India. In May 2015, an integration agreement was signed between the Russian Federation and South Ossetia. If South Ossetia were to join, it would be by acceding to the Russian Federation. Tajikistan was formally invited to join the Union and has expressed its interest in acceding. It is recognized as a potential candidate and membership negotiations are underway. In 2015, further efforts were made to integrate Tajikistan into the EEU. Uzbekistan remains hesitant to join the Economic Union, with Uzbek officials making opposing claims on the prospect of integration. The country prefers not to pursue economic and political integration as of now. Russian officials have stated that integration with the country would be slow, and analysts state that as Russian influence and trade increases in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, it may persuade Uzbekistan to join in the future. Uzbekistan began its integration process when Russia announced it would write off $865 million of debt owed by the country. Uzbekistan joined the CIS Free Trade Area in 2014, meaning it has free trade with the EU member states. Moldova, Ukraine and Georgia have been offered by both the European Union and the Eurasian Economic Union to join their integration unions. All 3 countries opted for the European Union by signing association agreements on the 21st of March 2014. However, breakaway regions of Moldova, Ukraine and Georgia have expressed a desire to join the Eurasian Customs Union and integrate into the Eurasian Economic Union. Ukraine submitted an application to participate in the Eurasian Economic Union as an observer in August 2013. Viktor Yanukovych's decision to abandon an association agreement with the European Union and exclusively pursue integration with the EEU was a key factor in the Euromaidan protests that ended his term as president of Ukraine and led to the Crimean crisis. The country's membership in the EEU was seen by some analysts as a key to the success of the Union, as Ukraine has the second largest economy of any of the 15 former republics of the Soviet Union. With high tensions between Russia and Ukraine in the wake of the crisis, Ukraine decided to pursue integration with the EU. Turkey was extended an invitation to join the EEU by Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev on 6 June 2014, but the country prefers to join the EU. Georgia's Prime Minister Bidzina Ivanishvili said said in September 2013 he was studying the possibility of acceding to the Union, although he later clarified that Georgia's main strategy was still to integrate into the European Union. Russia's Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev included Georgia as a prospective member in statements made in August 2013. Politics and governance. The Eurasian Economic Union has sought to base its model on the European Union. All institutions carry out the work in compliance with the Treaty on the Eurasian Economic Commission and the international agreements that provide the legal and regulatory framework of the customs union and the single economic space. Supreme Eurasian Economic Council. Important decisions for the Eurasian Economic Union are addressed by the Supreme Eurasian Economic Council, which is composed of the heads of state of the member states. The Supreme Council determines the strategy, direction and prospects of integration and takes decisions aimed at achieving the goals of the Union. It also approves the budget and the distribution of the contribution of the member states. Eurasian Economic Commission. The agreement signed by Russia's President Dmitry Medvedev, Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev and Belarus's President Alexander Lukashenko established the Eurasian Commission, the supranational governing body of the Eurasian economic space, which started work on 1 January 2012. The Eurasian Commission was modeled on the European Commission. Its headquarters are in Moscow. The Commission monitors subordinate branches and advisory bodies. Its departments were greatly expanded on 1 January 2015, and the number of international employees increased from 150 to 1,200. The Eurasian Commission can take decisions on not only the customs policy of the Union, but also on the macroeconomy, the competition regulations, the energy policy and the fiscal policy of the Eurasian Economic Union. It has strict anti-corruption laws. The Eurasian Economic Commission consists of two bodies, the Council and the Collegium. The Council is composed of the Vice Prime Ministers of the member states. The Council of the Commission oversees the integration processes in the Union, and is responsible for the overall management of the Eurasian Commission. It monitors the Commission by approving the draft budget of the Union, the maximum number of personnel, and the qualification requirements for the Commission's employees. The Council convenes once every quarter. It also considers issues of customs cooperation, trade and development of Eurasian integration. The Council regularly holds discussions on the important aspects of the EU and meets with business representatives of the member states. Collegium. The Collegium is composed of 12 commissioners, one of which is the chairman of the board. Each member state provides 3 commissioners to the Collegium of the Eurasian Commission who carry out the operational management and oversee the everyday work of the Eurasian Commission. All 12 commissioners are appointed by the Supreme Eurasian Council for a 4-year renewable term. The commissioners also receive the status of federal ministers in the respective countries. The Collegium of the Commission is the executive body of the Commission. It convenes once every week at least, and is responsible for the day-to-day running of the Eurasian Economic Union. It has a wide range of activities, including monitoring the implementation of treaties, submitting annual progress reports and making recommendations. The board of the Commission also assists member states in the settlement of disputes, and carries out the draft of the Union's budget. Part of its activities include being the intermediary between the departments of the Commission and the heads of state of the member states. A number of departments are headed by the commissioners. The lower-rank staff is composed of 84% Russian officials, 10% Kazakhs and 6% Belarusians, proportional to the populations of the member states. The departments enable the board of the Eurasian Commission to make decisions not only only with regard to customs policies, but in such areas as macroeconomics, regulation of economic competition, energy policy and financial policy. The Commission departments are also involved in government procurement and labor migration control. Parliament. As of 2015, the EU has no directly or indirectly elected body. In 2012, the creation of a Eurasian Parliament was under consideration. However, it was considered too premature, and member states have instead begun harmonizing national laws and legal codes. Russian President Vladimir Putin has upheld the idea of creating a parliament for the Union. Court of the Eurasian Economic Union. The Court of the Eurasian Economic Union replaced the Court of the Eurasian Economic Community in 2015. It is in charge of dispute resolution and the interpretation of the legal order within the Eurasian Economic Union. Its headquarters is in Minsk. The court is composed of 2 judges from each member state, appointed by the heads of government of the member states. The term of office is 9 years. Budget. The approved budget of the Eurasian Economic Union for 2015 exceeds 6.6 billion Russian rubles. The budget is formed from contributions by the Union's member states. In 2015, 6 billion rubles will be allocated for the activity of the Eurasian Economic Commission. 463 million rubles will be set aside for financing the operation and further development of the EU Integrated Information System designed to promote and inform consumers of the EU's activities, and over 290 million rubles will finance the activities of the Court of the EU. Extra expenses of infrastructure and accommodation of Commission workers are financed by Russia. In addition, Russia allocated $1 billion to accelerate Kyrgyzstan's entry into the Union. Another $177 million was provided by Kazakhstan.